All right. That's live. Yeah, what a time to be alive.
How do you want to go into this? Do you want to talk about the 10K guys and talk about the value guys? Who do we want to talk about first? Because there's 10K guys, there's value guys, there's some guys in between. There's a lot of people on the board. What do you want to discuss first?
I say let's go over the 10K guys. Let's talk about how well they could do and the possibility of them working out. I guess we should start with Tyler Reddick since,
okay.
I mean, he's kind of the main story going into this. The information that I have, and I'm sure that yours is pretty similar, is that this is an R Motorsports car running under the RSS Greenlight Racing Team.
Just not Greenlight, RSS.
Or ISS, yes.
Just Ryan C, yeah. Actually, it's Ryan C. Graham, right?
Yeah, whatever they're
now.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not even their car. Where do you think the R Motorsports cars in general are in terms of speed? I think they're like 8th to 9th.
Yeah, that's fair. And so if the car is 8th or 9th in speed, then I would imagine Tyler Reddick could easily get the thing to 5th place. He could probably do a lot better considering this is his best track. And I know that's probably the biggest question most people are worried about. What about this car? What about if Tyler Reddick didn't sit in meetings all week? He hasn't sat in meetings and worked with his team for months and months to get into a car that can finish 15th. It's got to at least be a top 10 car, or he just simply wouldn't be wasting his time. We've never seen him do this before. I mean, I can't imagine now he just wants to go out there and run meaningless laps and look like a fool. Like no one, top-notch racers don't want to go out and crap equipment. So it's got to be at least good enough where he thinks he can push this thing forward. I have no problem. If you want to worry about him wrecking, everyone hits the wall. It's just some guys are pretty good at hitting the wall because they can run close to the wall so that when they do hit it, it doesn't damage them that much. We saw Gragson hit the wall plenty of times last year. Reddick has hit the wall plenty of times. There's a difference between how he runs and hits the wall to how Justin Allgaier runs and hits the wall. Cindric runs and hits the wall. Cole Custer, when he ran and would hit the wall. Cindric, I mean, all those other guys just don't. There's a difference in how they run the wall, and Reddick knows how to do it and get away with it. Same with Gregson, or we'll never know.
Yeah. So I don't think this car is going to be the fastest car on the track. No. I don't think that even if Tyler is running the outside lane, I don't see him just racking up the fast laps that people think he's going to rack up. I see him as purely a place differential play.
You don't think they could at least, I mean, over the course of 100 and some laps, at least get 20 fast laps?
We've never.
Even if you cut it in half, let's say he gets 5, he's still what, 6.6? I don't know. I think late in a run where all that speed's going to come up top, he's got a really good chance of peeling his points off. And without a competition caution this year, there's not going to be guys doing goofy stuff like we saw last year that poached. So I thought that we'd have a competition caution. I thought we could see more chances for guys to put on new tires on lap 20. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out very well for those guys that did it anyway. It actually did not work for C. Yeah, he got some points, but he was unable to finish the race both times, or at least finish where he should have. That's a losing strategy, taking those tires in stage 1. It's just stupid. It really is. And I can't imagine anyone's going to galaxy brain into that again this year. It's going to be long runs, and on the long run, I believe in Reddick.
Yeah, and we'll get to questions in a second. I just want to finish with the Reddick talk. And like I have no Reddick whatsoever, and I have him projected at 78.65 DK points. I'm giving him 17 fast laps. No laps led. I mean, I'm projecting him to do well. I'm just not going to play him. I'd rather. There's so many other plays that I like in the 9s, the 8s. We'll talk about Riley Herbst when we get there. If anything, it's harder for me to get away from Herbst and Gregson than it is to hop on the Reddick train.
Of course, it's a bandwagon and it's an obvious play, but it's an obvious play for a reason. You might be galaxy braining this a little bit and overthinking it.
I might, but we'll see. I like the lineups that I have, man. And
I mean, I think you can, but it's really easy for Reddick to just get into the. If this thing runs green, Reddick's gonna kill you.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I've certainly done dumber things, but that's where I have him projected at in terms of because I don't
think you're wrong. I can see at his price, and if he doesn't get the fast laps, and if he just finishes 9th, and maybe he makes a little bit of a mistake, but
What do you have him at right now?
Just
7?
like I've got him finishing 5th, which I think is a pretty good ceiling. He can do better than that. And I've got him with just 10 hog points. What's that, 20 fast laps? Maybe you go down a little bit there. I don't really want to fight against it. I think he's a fine play. There's other guys in the 10K that you can play other than him if you're mixing him around, but I think he needs to be in at least a portion of your lineups.
The other reason behind that is the builds that follow Reddick.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's more of why I'm not on Reddick, is because I just don't like the builds that playing him leaves you, especially in the value range. I mean, we're going to be playing guys from the value range anyway, but I just don't like, if I'm paying up for Reddick, and say if I'm paying up for Gregson, it's really going to put us towards playing guys like Howard, guys like Graf, Star.
Maybe if you can fit him. I don't know if you can fit Yelly in some of those lineups.
And that's the main reason why I'm getting off of Reddick. I'm seeing some questions about Timmy Hill and the MBM stuff. Like, look, guys, like, I can't find anything. Okay, they don't post at all. There's nothing on Chad, Timmy, Light, Carl Long's page, MBM's page on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Any info I have, they've posted nothing this week. I have no idea what these cars are doing. Please stop DMing me, because I open the DMs up to answer actual questions, and all I get flooded is is Timmy Hill going to start in park? So I don't know. Please leave me alone about that.
So, I mean, we say this before, just everyone has a checklist of things you need to do. Go through your checklist of finding out whether someone starts or parks. And part of that checklist is not just ask Cruz. But there's things that you can check. And I've gone through my checklist, and my answer is I don't know. I don't know. There's not any thing. Like, we don't even have a picture. I mean, if someone could find a picture of their car, Star says it's a Whataburger car, but I'll believe it when I see it. We don't know. And even if, like, I don't even think Timmy Hill matters. Timmy Hill in this field can run the race. And I mean, even last year when he's running races against pretty competitive fields, or against average fields, he was finishing 25th. It's going to be tough for him to finish 25th in this field today without getting that competition caution as well. That competition caution bailed out a lot of these bums last year. We're not getting those. David Starr is in the same spot, but if he gets locked 2 or 3 laps down, it's not going to hurt him as much because he can still go forward a little bit. Timmy Hill probably could survive a little bit of that, but it's really going to put a hard ceiling on a lot of these guys. We've already probably spent too much time. I don't know is the answer about starting park.
Yeah, and
I really don't want this to be the starting park show. We were talking about this because this is going to get asked 5 or 6 times during the show, and I really don't want to turn this thing into the S&P show. If I knew, I would just say, boom, he's running. Honest to God. But I don't know. Or maybe just put it in your Patreon. Maybe people start paying for that.
Yeah, I can't. No, that's crooked.
Well, the other thing is, like, as soon as one of those guys parks, your head's on a stick.
Yeah, I mean, it's and
they were going to run.
And
That
bringing
may
this
have
up,
happened to me once or twice.
No starting parks. I mean, the Xfinity and the Truck Series haven't. These 2 series haven't admitted that someone's going to start in park for years. Okay, like. Even we've seen, like, for example, the 13 car have sponsors.
We got to move on. I know it's a good story. We cannot do it. We've already got sucked into this whole. All right, let's go. And I hate to cut you off, but for the betterment of the show, you and I, once we get talking about starting park, it's over. No Gregson. I think you just jam him in. If you want to be contrarian, fine. I just don't see how that works. This is the first pick in just about all of my lineups. Where do you stand?
I completely agree. I am finding it hard to get off of Gregson. I mean, he's too low in terms of pricing. He has the best car. Now, whether he can win the race doesn't matter. I think he'll lead a lot of laps. I see him getting a lot of fast laps. If anybody's going to get fast laps going through traffic, it's going to be him over Reddick.
Yep. All right. So now let's start talking about some of the last couple 10K guys. I know that you have a firm stance against Cindric. I completely disagree, but you go ahead and give me your no Cindric talk.
So let's see here. How much do I have of him right now? I have 20% of Cindric.
Okay, well that's not, you're not as completely against him.
No, I see him working out in certain circumstances of him leading a good portion of the race. Like, especially, I bumped him up without having this competition caution because I was under the assumption they would have a competition caution, and they don't. So that should help Cindric kill the first stage.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. So he's going to kill stage 1, I would imagine, right? It's what he did last year. Okay, so we're going to give him all those points. So then we start stage 2. Who's going to fight with him in stage 2? Look, Gragson's going to be closer, but remember, Gragson's not going to have short run speed. We saw the same thing. Gragson may overcome Cindric, but it's going to be halfway into stage 2. We're giving this guy all of stage 1, half of stage 2. Where do we think he's going to finish? Unless he wrecks somewhere around 1st to 5th. So that's a lot of hog points. That's a top 5 finish. Sure, it's going to be a couple negative, but he's also got the #1 pit stall. And I know that I just, again, last week, one of the big things that we emphasized was stop creating these rules and then following these rules. Last week, if you won at the Daytona Road Course, it's because you stopped following all these stupid rules that we put in place. And now there's this rule about, well, we don't trust the pole sitter anymore. That is like, it's so ridiculous because we know that the pole sitter is set by random. And so when you're saying that, you're kind of hiding the fact that, oh, yeah, well, the time that the pole sitter didn't work, Justin Haley was on the pole. Well, so in the past, when we loved the pole sitter, it was because the pole sitter was good. It's not that, well, we can't play the pole sitter. Well, you can't play the pole sitter when it's Justin Haley, when it's Ross Chastain. When the pole sitter is the best guy in the field, I don't know what the hell we're doing if we're trying to set some rule that we've got to follow. We got to stop setting these rules that we. I have no problem playing the pole sitter when it's the best car in the field with really good short run speed, probably even decent long run speed. So the only reason against Cindric is you're going towards a different build. And there's guys, I think, of their fair plays. Yeah, should we talk about those guys?
Yeah, I'll touch on this right fast. So this is me kind of speculating. I think if people play Reddick, they don't play Cindric, because I'm assuming everybody's playing Gragson. Gragson is the chalk that I'm going to eat. And so if you're playing Austin Cindric, you're getting the guy who's going to lead the first stage unless something stupid happens. And 2, you're pivoting off of Reddick. That's just my thing. I'll let you.
You can play them both. You're going to end up with some punts, and you might end up with similar lineups as everybody else. But in my world, those guys are all complementary because Gragson's not going to lead. Gragson comes alive as Cindric falls apart. And I don't necessarily need Reddick to lead laps. He's just going to poach some fast laps here or there, finish in the top 5. He doesn't really need to win either. So I can see all 3 working together. And then again, we could get that late race caution. That changes everything. I don't really want to talk, but I don't think that it's not doable to play all 3. But early in the week, I like Cindric and Gragson. I'm probably not going to back away from that.
Yeah, I'm more on Gragson this morning than I was earlier in the week.
Yeah, I love Gragson. I can't get enough of Noah.
Can't do it.
Which is obviously didn't work out so well last week. What are you going to do? It gave up a valiant effort. All right, so if you're not playing Cindric and you're not in love with Tyler Reddick, then who are these pool of drivers that you are fascinated by?
The people that I am liking, I'm getting way more Ty Dillon than I expected to.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's got to win the race. Now, if we get a late race caution, I think he absolutely can. If we don't get a late race caution, I don't think he has a damn chance.
Yeah, but I see him getting more fast laps than people expect. And I mean, he's going to be in probably the 3rd or 4th best car. And maybe
even better than that. The car was pretty good last week.
Yeah. What was I saying?
Yeah. In terms of raw points, and I'm not really that aggressive with his hog points, so he's right there. He's going to get positive place difference. He's much safer than Cindric in cash. He's much safer and cheaper than. I don't even know if I want to. He shouldn't wreck. It is Ty Dillon. We have to really pull it down. And then in terms of point per dollar, though, he's not quite as good. Yeah, he's definitely a good play. So I understand that. Where do you see him going? Do you see him finishing, winning, and how many hog points?
Let me see. Oh, you're asking the good questions here. These are the types of questions I like versus starting park questions. Let's see where we're at.
Okay, I understand the starting park. I asked that question to myself too. It's frustrating because we don't have the answer. We wish we could answer everything on here. We're not trying to be jerk. It's just we can't lie to you. I'm not going to make something up. What do you got for Dillon? I'm giving him 20 laps led, 10 fast laps. Wow. And I'm projecting him to finish between 3rd and 5th. I think he leads at some point in this race. That's pretty aggressive. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. He has a fast car. And I guess he finished second Homestead once upon. I don't know if I'm digging that deep to really look at that, but it's been a while.
Here, let me give some context to the lineups that I'm playing him in. So I'm playing him
With Gregson.
Obviously I'm playing Gregson a lot, but I'm playing
Yaley.
Yeah, with a lot of JJ Yaley. Yeah, I can. We're not there yet. What do you think of AJ Allmendinger? Because I'm getting a lot of AJ Allmendinger as well. Like Ty Dillon and AJ Allmendinger are popping up for me way more than I thought they would.
Why would you spend $11,000 for AJ when you can get $700 more for Tyler Reddick?
I'm not playing Reddick.
You're crazy, man.
And so if I'm
you are galaxy brain in this, trying to be different from everybody else, and people who just went in like, oh, play NASCAR, they're gonna throw in Reddick and beat you.
Look,
they're not gonna overthink this.
Look, I love the plays in the 8 and 9K ranges.
Allmendinger was, you want to look at his laps, he was just out there turning laps. And if he gets bailed out by a caution, well, so does a bunch of other guys that are a lot cheaper going to get bailed out by that caution. I would much rather play Riley Herbst than AJ Allmendinger. If I have 10 lineups, I will have 10 Herbst before and have 0 Allmendinger.
I have Herbst. I have 9. I have 10 lineups made right now. I'm making more later. I have him in 9. Yeah. Like Herbst and Gregson.
Again, what could go wrong?
I'm setting myself up for failure right there. And I think that's why I'm getting so many other 10K guys, Ty Dillon, AJ Allmendinger. Same thing with Michael Annette. I mean, I'm kind of around the same pool, and I'm trying to get different with this. What is it with these lineups? Rick Young, you can actually find this sheet at racefortheprize.com. There's a link in the video here. It's Pearce's sheet, and you can view all this for free on his website.
Yep. Racefortheprize.com free. Yeah, so Herbst is going to be popular. Maybe Allmendinger won't be that popular. I don't see him being very efficient at 5.6 for him. Okay, so I wanted to look at his laps from last year's race. He just ran in the middle of the track. He had to race his way from the back. He got into the teens, gets into the teens, runs inside the top 10, just basically in 8th place for the entire race. And then they get the cautions at the end. He wrecks Riley Herbst, and he finishes 4th. I don't see him like in this field. I mean, look who he has to outrace to get a top 5. It's not as soft as it was last year.
Yeah, but he wasn't racing for anything last year.
You're right. No, yeah, he was. He was racing for $100,000. It was part of the Dash for Cash because he had won the week before, and so he was one of the 4 guys that could win $100,000.
Oh no! Oh, that's even more. That kills that, because I was like, oh well, last year he was just kind of racing for wins.
He was trying because he wasn't even competing against some of the top tier guys either. So he had a chance. I don't know if he won it or not. It might have been one of his teammates. He might have won it.
Is that the one Haley won? No,
it might have been Haley that won it. I can't remember. Let's see. What was it? Second race. Allmendinger finished 4th. And it might have been. I don't know if Chastain was in it or not. It
may have been Chastain, because I know.
Yeah, it was one of them.
Yeah, it was one of those guys.
Yeah. Oh well, it doesn't really matter. He was racing for something there. It was $100,000 because that's why he ended up running the second race. Mm-hmm. They told him he could actually. They were going to let him run both of those races. He's like, I don't want to run 2 Homestead races. It's too hot. So I'll just do the second one, the Dash for Cash.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he can get a caution at the end and it could work, but that's what I see. Now with Reddick, I don't think you need a caution at the end to win with them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want to talk about these 9K guys? Yeah, I'm not interested that much in them. I could see Burton working late race caution, Jones working late race caution. I'm not going to build it. If someone ends up there, that's a really good way to win GPP by yourself because all 3 of these guys will be low owned. If you get the late race caution, that might be the one guy that slides in, get you just enough points. But you also need, even if there's that late race caution and they win, you need Cindric to kind of finish poorly. You need some of those top tier guys to just not score points. I don't know.
And you certainly need Reddick to do poorly in that situation.
Yeah. So you not only need the late race caution, you also need Hemrick and Burton and Jones to have decent races, and then you need the other guys to fail. There's a lot of ifs there, and plus they're not saving you that much money. They're going to make you roster other guys that you don't like too much either. Yeah, clearly the guy in that tier is going to be Riley Herbst in that 98 car, which was really fast last year. Herbst, having no experience at all, still earned 2 top 10s last year. He should be fine. I don't think he'll have a great day, but he just has to hang in there.
He kind of defaults to, where do I have him at? Like 8th, 9th, 10th. Where is he at here? You got to find him.
Briscoe won this race last year, but Briscoe won because there was a caution at the end. Gragson had it won. Briscoe kind of closed the lead. You can see this in the notes at Race for the Prize. But once Briscoe got kind of close, Gragson got the lead back to a second and a half. And then with 2 laps left, just before Gragson gets the white Cindric spins out. And then on a restart, it's over. Gragson just did not have short run speed. So Briscoe wins by, he was good. He was a second place car, but he wasn't the winning car. And then people would say, well, he had all these fast laps in the first race. Well, that was because he was always on fresh tires while other people were on old tires. But nothing to take anything away from Briscoe, but the car's good. It'll be fine for Riley Herbst.
Yeah, like I said, he should default to like the 9th, 10th, 11th driver around that range. And I mean, at his price, I have no issue going there. I'm all over Herbst, which is scary, but I'm fine with that.
The other thing is, Briscoe didn't really have to get on the wall for most of that race to run well, so that's good for Herbst too. All right.
And I would argue that team had actual practice, because that first race he was down laps because he was losing weight on the pace lap. And
yeah. He was down it was 6 laps he had to get back.
Yeah,
but they did a bunch of unconventional stuff, and the cautions worked out perfectly for him. It's a weird race. It's a bizarre race.
Yeah. Let's see, who else are we looking at in this range? I mean, let's talk about Michael Annette, Snyder. I'm not over Snyder. I'm actually not playing Snyder. I think he gets outscored by other people. Annette at 8,500. I mean, him and Herbst are almost too cheap, because I feel like everybody should play Herbst and Annette together. Like, it just fits into every lineup. I don't know if they will, but
why are we playing Annette? Where do you think he's going to run?
He'll be top 10. I mean,
no, he won't.
Yeah, he will.
Did you watch the race? Where was he last week? In a race where he should have been fine, and he couldn't keep up with that. Is he going to outrace Cindric?
No.
Hemrick?
Yeah.
Hemrick in a JGR car? Hemrick was good to start the season.
Michael Annette, look at Michael Annette's runs at these tracks not Homestead, but
look at Michael Annette's road course runs, and how did that work last week?
I didn't play him.
Right, I'll give you Hemrick. I think you're a crazy person. Harrison Burton?
No.
Brandon Jones?
No.
Ty Dillon?
No.
Gragson?
No.
Haley?
No.
That's 6. Allmendinger?
No.
That's 7. Herbst?
No.
Tyler Reddick?
I would think probably after Tyler Reddick, that's what he'll fall in line.
All
so
right.
he's like,
he has to have his perfect day.
That's
is
not
10th. And that's not even saying, hey, what about Jeb Burton? Hey, what about Mike Snyder? Hey, what about Justin Allgaier if he doesn't knock the wall down? How about Josh Berry? How about Michael Annette? Ryan Sieg was halfway decent when he wasn't doing stupid stuff with his cars. They might have really good cars this year. We don't know yet. Yeah, I think he can beat all the rest of these guys. I don't know, man.
In early in the preseason, I wrote about Michael Annette, and I said, like, look, at Homestead, I'm going to be all over Annette. I liked his speed at the end of last year at these types of tracks. I even called it the year of Michael Annette in my
You're crazy, man. So that's why we're doing this. You've created this narrative, and you've got to stick to it until it blows up. That's true. Look, I did that with Allgaier last year. It's like, oh, this is going to be Allgaier's year. And then after him just burning my bank account, I said, all right, I'm not playing you anymore, or at least forcing myself to play you anymore. Let's look at his laps. He wrecked in that second race. I think he did run around the top 10 in both of those races for the most part. Running in the teens. See, this is my fear. He just runs around 13th or 14th, and that just doesn't do it. So he does get to the top 10 in stage 3, stays there. So that's decent in Homestead 1. Homestead 2, I think he did probably the same thing. But I would argue that field is a lot softer. I don't know. I don't think it's crazy, but I would rather find better ways to work my money.
Okay, let me ask this, because I think these guys are very similar in upside. How do you feel about Josh Berry?
Will know anything about Josh Berry? I would probably – I haven't messed around with the builds, but I would rather try to see what I can do with Josh Berry. I can't imagine that their upsides are much different, and I'll take the savings. Plus, he gives me a couple more place differential. I'm going to assume that both these cars are probably pretty equal, and yeah, I don't know. I think probably Berry's a better race car driver. I really would try. I'm not really thinking about playing either one of them, to be honest with you.
Really, I've ended up in that area.
So you ended up in that area. It's not like they were the first pick.
Well, I mean, you end up play. That's why I'm asking specifically, because I think Annette has very similar upside to Josh Berry. Josh Berry, obviously.
I probably got Berry way too high here. Let's dial that down. And so if I dial him down, I still have Berry with, let's go to 10. Berry at 5.6 and at 4.6 point per dollar wise. I'm going to go with Berry in that case. The thing that worries me with Annette, though, is they're always doing something stupid on tires. Always. They're always trying some unconventional strategy. It's just not safe at all. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And that like safe 12th place finish, he's always trying to get a 5th place, and sometimes it results in like an 18th place finish. Mm-hmm. Berry's not going to do anything unconventional. You're going to get probably a pretty safe play as long as he doesn't run into the wall. Can't imagine Berry's going to run the wall today.
So I was looking back at Josh's running in late model and his previous races in the
super deep.
Like, I mean, I have to look up these guys, especially with no practice. If you look at Josh Berry, he has been absolutely atrocious in his previous NASCAR starts. Now he's ran for pretty bad teams.
Spot starts, not really like real full time focused things.
They're and that's with practice, and that's with. I mean, he's good at short tracks. Like if this was a short track, but I'm afraid that because he ran for Junior Motorsports 2014. This is the main one that I looked at because it was at Homestead. He started 12th, finished 25th with practice. It should be the exact same situation. That's what I'm concerned about, is that he doesn't have practice, and that we were just talking about how stacked this field is. Some people are talking about using Josh Berry as like a value play, and
so he's going to use stage 1. They're going to spread out. It's going to be a practice. He'll be able to hang on the lead lap. It's going to get kind of hairy there, but he doesn't. We just need him to move forward at the end. We just need him to try to pass cars in stage 3. I don't know. I mean, I guess the Annette has more experience. I just really think there's too many problems with both of them as a play. And if I ended up on them, I might try to go somewhere else. I don't see why if you can get to Ryan Sieg, I would probably try to go to Ryan Sieg. We don't know what these cars have, but I can't imagine they're doing Toyota junk, right? You mentioned this the other day at Las Vegas last year. For the first time ever, he had a real Childress car, and he was awesome. He was an entirely different Ryan. He was a top 5 Ryan Sieg in a actual race car, not a year-old hand-me-down Richard Childress car. If these Toyotas are real cars, he could finish 7th or 8th. And if they're real cars, he's not going to do stupid stuff. And
well, no, he's in a Roush-powered car though.
Are they Roush? I thought, or the Ford. Sorry, yeah, they switched to Ford.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. No, it's okay. Yeah. So if it's solid equipment. I mean, he ran well last year, even in crap equipment at Homestead. I probably should bump C up a little bit, to be honest with you.
Let's see. So
that would be where I would probably go. You've got the experience. They start Cowboy Starlin on the pit box or whatever, but that's probably something to think about here late in the go. If you're in that spot, let's say he finishes there. Would you rather have Sieg, if you can afford it, Sieg, Annette, or Josh Berry?
I'd probably do Sieg. Let me see where I'm at. See, I know I have a lot of him as well.
Oh boy, that's bad too.
I want to see. Okay, so I mean, like my main drivers that I'm pivoting between, not at the top or the bottom, but it's Annette, Sieg, Herbst, Berry, and that's and I'm kind of like, I'm not putting those guys in a lineup together, but I'm ending up with pairs of those stacked with other guys. And so
So in that price range, Annette, Snyder, I don't want Snyder. I don't want Burton. I don't understand that price at all.
Yeah.
Sieg, yeah, he's probably Moffitt can't work. I wouldn't rule out Jeffrey Earnhardt. I think it's hard for Ferrucci to work. It's hard for LeMay to work. I would put Jeffrey Earnhardt in it as well if we're taking that selection well, not Herbst. Herbst is locked. So if we go from, didn't mean to do that. If we go from Annette to Earnhardt, my rankings would be Sieg, Earnhardt. We could argue over Annette, Berry, and then the rest are just kind of throwaways. Do you disagree with that?
No, I agree. I don't agree with the Jeffrey Earnhardt play. I think.
Why don't you like Jeffrey Earnhardt? Decent finishes here last year. Ran well throughout the entire race. I don't see him going that high, but he's starting 36. He's not too expensive.
I would much rather play Parsons for way cheaper. And he should, I mean, he might not do the exact, like Earnhardt, if he follows what he's done, he has like top 17, 16 upside. But that $7,500 is huge, especially
you're right.
if you're paying up for like that. That doesn't, I haven't made that work in a lineup.
Cash wise, probably is okay. You're probably limited with that upside. That probably does hurt. Steph Parsons does seem like a decent play. I know he didn't run well here, but I think his last race was Las Vegas. He was really good in that Las Vegas race. Let me see.
He has a lot of money behind him. BJ McLeod. Okay, so
I'm showing up on my sheet, but I'm pretty sure maybe something is adjusted wrong. I got to fix it. But he ran. Yeah, I just need to fix something over here. He ran really well at that second Las Vegas race for BJ McLeod.
Mm-hmm. We saw the McLeod cars getting better. I don't trust Matt Mills. I'm not interested in that. I am slightly interested in Jesse Little since we're talking about.
Oh, God. How many times did we do that? I think we did this exact same thing at Homestead last year. Might have worked at Homestead. Was it Homestead? I remember we did the BJ McLeod did it a couple times where we had to play these guys up near the front because they were just 4,600. Let's see. Where was Little?
Yeah, and now granted, that was in a JD Motorsports car, and this is different, but
he's in BJ McLeod. It's a little bit lower. Yeah, so he started 18th, finished 15th, softer field. He was able to hold on to his position. Also got bailed out by competition cautions, so that really helped some of these. I can't do it. I'm not doing it.
He's got good sponsorship, good money. Like this ain't
Still
like
not a good race car driver.
Jesse Little's fine.
It's okay. He's okay. I don't see it happening.
Yeah,
BJ car. I don't see it happening.
Well, okay. Since we're at the Jesse Little discussion, are you even touching the graph?
No, you're a crazy person. I can't believe you.
People are doing it. They're like, "Oh, graph is there."
I can't believe this. Yeah. Well, thanks, but no thanks.
Him and
I get
Howard.
an NFL player behind him, and all of a sudden people think he's a good race car driver. Yeah. And I know they're going to look at this. What at Homestead? Yeah, but did you look at every other one of his races? He was terrible. He's not good. He's better than he was a couple years ago. I don't know. That was a soft field. He was okay. But those were the only two races where he was okay and didn't mess up. I'm not doing it. More power to you. That seems like a crazy GPP play. I don't know how that's a popular play.
What about Howard? I'm seeing that.
I like Howard. I'm probably going to end up there. At the very least, he's not going to kill you like Graff or Little. He ran just as well as those other two guys. Again, soft fields. So I imagine all these guys are going to finish a little bit worse. Well, that hurts Little. That hurts Graff. That's fine for Howard. I don't love it, but he's definitely on the board of the crappers that I'm going to have to put on. I mean, you're going to have at least two of these bums, maybe three bums in some of these lineups. Is that where you've ended up? I'm
trying to not end up there.
Really? So you're avoiding the 10K so that you don't have all these bums.
Yes. So that really explains my process for this. Is I'm trying to avoid these bum play. I like Parsons. I am very heavy on Parsons if I'm down here, but I do not want to go at 5,000 or below. The star play, I have some star.
Let's stop. There's a seed question. I want to touch on this because I was afraid people, and we'll come back to star. I know I'm interrupting you.
No,
but I want to make sure we hate this. So the Sieg fast laps is 100% an illusion. During the first competition caution, every one of the leaders stayed out to keep their tires for late in the race because you're going to need them for the last caution. Sieg took fresh tires and he just drove through the field. He wasn't faster than anyone at Homestead. He was on fresh tires, and as you said during your podcast, there's 3-second fall off. So he just went. I mean, you could look at Michael Annette did the exact same thing. just to make a point here, that these guys were not really fast. They were not really good. They just had fresh tires, which made them superheroes. And they did it multiple times. And Sieg actually wore tires out twice during the race. Let me see. Let's do Annette. Was it Annette in the second race? Look at this. And I know it's small. If you go to racefulprize.com. Lap 36, he takes fresh tires. And he drives from 28 to second place in 4 laps. Just to show you how significant fresh tires are and how they're going to make some of these guys look really good last year. Those fast laps are very misleading. Sieg's fast laps are very misleading. Back to David Starr in the man of the hour. Tell me whether I need to play him or not.
So I know you talked about it on your in your notes and stuff that he said he blew a transmission, and I did not see that.
Do we need to believe him?
I don't believe him.
David Starr lie to us.
I don't believe him. I don't know why.
That's where we are.
It's so bad that
Let me add to this though. Here's another step of crazy that at some point we've got to pull this back. And I think I don't know if it was DFS NASCAR blockchain or you, but people are analyzing that Tyler Reddick liked a tweet that said he was going to have to be safe. What the hell are we doing, people? I get it. I am as crazy as the next person diving into some of these stats, but at some point we've got to realize that we are being lunatics and that we're looking at what post Tyler Reddick likes to decide our plays. We are getting close to the edge. So we got to pull it back at some point. And I get it. It's the kettle calling the pot black, because I do the stupid stuff too. But back to our star thing. You think he's lying?
So I don't know if he's lying, but look, the only reason he's here is because this was the only car available that he was able to, because he hasn't been running because he lost his job, last year, and he ran a handful of races for Bobby Daughter, and MBM was like, this is literally the car that we talked about during the preseason of Carl Long just needs someone to start the races here and buy enough tires for this car. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you see Whataburger on the side, because that's like the sponsor. I'm sure Star knows somebody involved in that. That's
Star's never been a start and park guy. I don't think that he is that desperate to get on the track to go out there and park.
I don't think he is, but if that's the case and the transmission really, that's the equipment he's working with. It's not like he gave that $500,000 to MBM and they're getting brand new equipment.
It could just literally break down again.
I think that's the situation that's what I was going to say earlier, is it's not necessarily who's going to start and park. I don't believe in the equipment straight up.
Let's say he runs the race. And even that means he's got to pass people in a Carl Long car. He might pass 5 guys that fail and 5 guys that wreck. Who's the next 5 guys he's going to beat?
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. The equipment's probably not there. I don't even know what lap he was in when he broke down. That being said, I could end up with David Starr just because I'm punting like a maniac.
Okay, so I want to bring up a guy that
we need to get a Chiron that says we don't know who's starting parking and just run that across the bottom.
Right. Stop asking us.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
We don't know. We don't know. We went through our checklist. We don't know.
Yeah. I want to bring up the Bailey Curry situation here, because this is something that I'm actually on. Let's see. I have 3 lineups with Bailey in it right now, and here's my train of thought with him. He's cheap. I actually believe in him more than the MBM cars.
Yeah.
The fact that he has a new engine, and this is going back to people liking tweets. Somebody asked him when he was talking about this car why he thinks it's the best car that he's ever ran, and not to mention just the sponsors that they have on the car, but he liked a response asking if he had a new engine. So I'm going to assume this team has a new engine. Now, with that said, as a person who has worked with new engines before,
it's going to fail
with no practice, this engine could either be awesome.
Didn't they have that happen a couple times too?
Yeah, or it could grenade within like the first 10 laps because they don't have any practice. Where are they testing these motors out? Okay, maybe on the dyno, maybe on an engine rig in the shop, but unless you have load on the actual engine, like going around the track, you don't know what it is. Another thing is, when you're messing around with new engines, maybe he gets on the track, it's not going to blow up, but he's having issues with the carburetor, or he's not, he's kind of bogging down or something. Like there's almost more issues with him running a new motor with no practice than
this is the same guy that ran the Atlanta race last year without brakes.
No, the Darlington race.
Was it Darlington? He had brakes.
Yeah.
Gee, thanks, Mike Harmon. Next time, can you give me a car with brakes?
Yeah.
Trying to kill me?
So that's where I'm going to try and get away from playing Star or playing Howard and stuff. If I can get,
they're all bad. You just got to get lucky with some of these guys in the back. But then again, if Curry breaks, hey, there's another spot for David Starr.
Mm-hmm.
You can't play Weatherman. You can't play Mills. I know you're trying to play Little. I'd worry about that. Parsons seems the safest.
I assume we're both on JJ. I don't think we really have to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. JJ's a chalk if you can afford him.
Yeah.
That's the guy to play. It's a no-brainer, right? Gregson should be number 1 owned. JJ Yaley should be number 2 owned. Then you could decide where you go with your 10K guys. You can decide if you can fit in Herbst. And from there, and then I'm assuming you're probably going to end up on another punt. So who's that next punt with JJ Yaley? I think Colby Howard's probably the guy I go to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, him. I mean, Curry.
Parsons.
Parsons,
Curry wouldn't be a swerve.
Yeah.
Star is not the worst thing in the world. I don't think it's going to work. I just don't think he can move enough places forward in a Carl Long car, even if he runs the race. He still could park. He still could fail. If he somehow avoids the park and he avoids the failure, he's even got to pass some people. And he's got to pass people that are on the same lap as him, which might not even be the case. Oh. We don't know about Hill. I think you can play Hill. Hill has a better chance of passing people than David Starr, but he's got to pass people closer to the front.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know if he's running or not. I don't know what car he's in. He typically ran most of the races last year. He might have parked a couple at the end, though.
Mm-hmm. It's what did you post earlier about them talking about their boot cuts on their fire?
It's so stupid. I'm so tired of this stuff. You can't get. We want to know if Timmy Hill's going to park. We want to know if David Starr's going to park. Hey, NASCAR media, could you give us some information? Nah, we're going to talk about boot cut and fire suits.
It's not that hard. It's not an insult.
TMZ, that's all they do. It's all about clickbait. They won't admit it, but that's it. It's all clickbait.
Yeah.
What are the top 12 questions on Briscoe's mind? I don't care what 12. And I like Jeff Gluck, and I think he's a nice guy, but wish that we could get. Who's parking or not?
Right? What cars are they running?
God, praise Bob Pockross for answering the question about the Hour Motorsports, saying, hey, no, Tyler Reddick is in an Hour Motorsports car this week. That's the kind of information we want from these media guys, not boot cuts. I don't even know what that is. I mean, I think it's I don't even know what that is. It's something about the pants. I don't.
Yeah, tell their fire. It's.
I know that Kyle Busch can't spell the word traitor though. Aitor, Kyle Busch.
Oh man,
that's so stupid.
It's so
morons.
It's so bad.
Delete it, rewrite it.
Yeah. Same thing with tire test. I can play. We'll get back to the place.
Well,
I mean, what's the point of saying, hey, these guys are going to go to a tire test at COTA? Look, obviously Goodyear has an issue with their rear tires because they had rear tires failing at the road course. Goodyear has messed up. What are they testing exactly for? What are they looking at? A harder compound? Tell me something.
Nah, they don't care. They're right because they have to. Go ahead, baby narrative. You know what? Playing the baby narrative at Homestead last year, Austin Dillon had one of his best finishes. So you want to go to the baby narrative? It worked out for Austin Dillon. We're going to start doing that one. Right. I don't know, man. Maybe. I mean, Austin Dillon had the baby and then had a great finish at Homestead. So praise be Ace. So let's see what the optimizer is saying at the moment. I think the optimizer, it's not too far off. It's going Josh Berry. I think you can pivot in different directions. Well, I've adjusted, so I got to run it again. Gregson, yes. Howard, yes. Herbst, yes. It's going Fincham. We didn't even talk about Fincham.
So he's in the Hattori car.
Yeah, which typically doesn't park. Maybe one time, but I don't.
It actually parked twice
okay.
last year. when they ran the 61 in like the Hattori font, but it was clearly the 13 car.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you had to get, can I just get a picture for crying out loud? Somebody at MB.
Has got any tweets out?
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
So like people are probably frustrated that we can't tell, but we put you. I mean, you have gone through the Facebook Carl Long rabbit hole and through Twitter, but the good news is no one else knows either. So we're all just guessing here.
I mean, I'm not paying $5,300 for Chad, not knowing anything. I'm not. I'm not
doing
it
a lot of times, but there's been times that he's been able to pull it out. Let's see. Let's look at his intermediate tracks. So, yeah, it looks pretty bad at Texas, Las Vegas. There's the 20th at Darlington, 24th. 29th doesn't kill you. 25th is what we want. 33rd, it's not going to kill you in cash. 16th at Kentucky, it's kind of a goofy finish. But 21st in one of the Homestead races, a couple really good ones at the beginning of the year, but we've seen that from Chad Fincham where for whatever reason they've got money. But that could be it. At the beginning of the year, we have seen Fincham a couple times be decent. And then there's the other time where he had that 42 car supposedly was terrible. You remember that year?
Yeah.
I think he definitely, and I would play Fincham before I played Timmy Hill. Oh, you're different then. You're going to play Timmy Hill first?
I would play Timmy Hill first.
Oh, not me.
What other price? I didn't even look at the prices at that.
Fincham's $200 cheaper. Fincham's starting 4 spots back. It's fine. Build 2 lineups with both of them. No big deal. Who else is in there? This doesn't even have Yaley in it. I guess I can't afford Yaley. I would try to just barely can't afford him. So I would try to find a way. You're $100 short of getting JJ. And that would be easy. Just move Josh Berry down to, well.
Okay, so I want to answer this. So because people have DM'd me this exact thing. He's sponsored by Ultra Quick. That was for Daytona.
Oh.
It was just a 1 race deal. When he announced, I don't know if they've updated it, but it was just for Daytona. That's why that stupid video Chad has on his Twitter is my good friend put this together from Talladega or Daytona or whatever. And sure, he says his next stop is at Miami. I mean, by default, it's Miami. I don't know if he's taking that car. I don't know if he's taking that sponsor.
We'll see. But generally, Fincham doesn't park very often. If we're saying who parks more, Timmy Hill's parked a lot more than Chad Fincham has. The Carl Long cars have parked more than Hattori cars have. So that's definitely on Fincham's side.
I mean, I gotta stop. Unless they've posted anything within the hour I've been on.
Someone's got a Facebook post up. They got pictures. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. This is where we are, guys.
I'll look for it. I'll tell you.
It's got the Ultra on the hood. It is. Fincham's got it.
God forbid they tell us this.
But Timmy Hill's in the old crash claims.
Oh, that's not good at all. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Knowing that. Knowing he's got a tertiary Janie King sponsor. Knowing that you're going to play Fincham over Hill.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like a pretty solid toy ride. We're bumping him up. All in on
Fincham. Fincham train. Here we go. We've waited weeks for this.
I can't put it on the screen, I don't think. I'm trying to think. Can I put it on? No, because I've got it in a tab. Oh, well. Take our word for it. Or just click on the link that is posted in the chat.
Yeah, I'm fine with
17 minutes ago. Geez, make people wait, huh? All right, so I like Fincham. All right, let me run the optimizer again, see what it spits out. And we'll continue to answer questions. We've kind of touched on everybody. Slam and Gregson, I like Reddick. You are trying to outthink the field. Mm-hmm. We both love Herbst.
Big brain.
Big brain here. JJ Yaley, yes. We already talked about Ray. I like Cindric a lot. I think that there's a 50% chance that he's in the optimal lineup because he's going to lead all of stage 1, at least half of stage 2. Worst case scenario, finishes 5th. That's got to get the job done at 10,200.
Mm-hmm.
You are kind of going a little more galaxy on me. You still have some. Ty Dillon, you like him a lot more than I do. My reason for not liking Ty Dillon is just I like Cindric and Reddick more. But
if I make, I don't know if I can get this going fast enough to answer. But I bet if I put more Chad into my player pool, I'll probably end up with more Cindric.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, having that definitely gives us a little more confidence in the value range because we were just talking about those guys. It was not fun down here in the cheapies. We'll go over that again real quick too, since we kind of talked on the expensive guys. There's just a ton of question marks. Mm-hmm. No Mills, no Graf. Well, the only reason you're considering Graf is just more of a product of how bad it is down here. Weatherman, no. Little, again, just because there's no one to consider. Howard's okay, but he's just going to barely squeeze in the optimal by default. Starr's probably not going past 30th. Parsons maybe has a chance. I think Bean had good finishes in some pretty weak races, but I can't see him jumping in at Homestead having a good race. And so then that leaves us with Fincham, Curry, Yaley. And I'm skipping Hill because I don't think he's going to do much.
Yeah. We got asked about Tommy Joe. I do.
Yeah, maybe.
So he's interesting. So last year we saw his hellacious start where he probably threw away $150,000 worth of equipment.
That's all right, because he probably got a PPP loan in the government.
Yeah. Okay, fine. He's fine. His house is no longer mortgaged to support the car.
Got that free COVID money. He's like, whatever.
But
he did.
But he was running well at the end, towards the end, and in the races where we didn't have to worry about the issue, he ran fine.
Oh, Sieg pops in. Yeah, no. Once he got the gremlins gone, we saw like you go back to when he was with BJ Motorsports. He was one of the best drivers when he would jump in these cars. When he would get a top tier car, he was great. He just kept failing and burning our money. And here we are, though. This is the same situation early in the season. If there's going to be mechanical failure, it's going to be today.
Let's see. I'm 20% on Tommy Joe. Very similar to how I am. I'm a little bit higher on Parsons, about the same type of ownership I have on Curry, but those are the guys I'm looking at. Like I said, I'm trying to get away from the Howard stuff. Let's talk about where to go.
This one can't afford Yaley either. So look at this lineup. We got Sieg, Gragson, which I think Sieg is absolutely fine in cash. Herbst, Howard's okay. It's just Fincham's okay, and then Reddick. If you go away from Reddick, if you go to Cindric, you're going to be able to get Yaley. You're going to maybe get off of Howard. It's not terrible. It's going in the right direction, I think.
It's all coming down to that salary that Reddick has. Because
that's keeping us going to Yaley, which is very safe. So in cash, find a way to get to Yaley somehow. That's probably going to mean having to abandon Sieg. I don't see any other way that you can do it. We'll figure it out. All right, you were saying.
Let's see. Let's talk about Greg Galding in the I forgot his dang name. Who owns this? Jimmy Means.
This was David Starr for years, and then last year it was Vanderwall and was terrible.
Yeah.
I think he could get as high as 20th. I don't think even when he was running well for SS Greenlight, like he wasn't like a top 10 car by any means. Wasn't even a top 15 car. So 20th seemed to be a pretty solid ceiling.
Yeah, I think he's I know you said he's a great play in your perspective, James, but I beg to differ. I think I'm certainly not on him at all. I don't think he's viable. Where is this car going to get? Let's not even talk about the pricing. Let's say his best run is 22nd. I think that's being very, very generous. If he shows up and actually runs decent, 22nd. At 6,200, that's not going to do it in a lineup. That's hurting your salary. That's almost worse than playing like if you're paying up for guys.
I mean, he finished 24th last week. I don't remember him ever really even being a part of the picture either.
Yeah, he just kind of survived because everybody else.
There's so many cautions. He should have plenty of opportunities. I just really worry about that car. What is this? Did he have his Panini sponsorship?
Yes, sir.
And it's not showing up on the entry list, but I'm just assuming. Yeah, I'm not. I would rather take Tommy Joe Martins in that case. What about you?
Yeah, Tommy Joe Martins, Bailey Curry, same thing. I am not over Greg Galding at all.
And a lot of the mechanical failure stuff that happened to him was just really bad luck. It wasn't. I mean, obviously, though, when you have a small garage, it's harder to cover all of your bases, and so it's not necessarily bad luck. It's just there's a more higher probability of that happening. But that same thing's going to play Greg Galding as well. It's not like Jimmy Means has that many more guys working for him.
And, the Tommy Joe Martins failures last year, like they weren't small part failures. They were catastrophic engine failures,
So we got a graph thought. And, yeah, he did run well last year. But those are literally the only two races that he did run well. You look at his intermediate tracks. He started the season out pretty decent last year. But then as other teams, I think, just adapted to the no practice situation, got more aggressive, he was really not running that great. He was not even a top 20 car for the majority of the intermediate tracks that closed the season out. Mm-hmm. And his best runs were those like first couple races where they kind of were all just out there lap turning. That Kentucky race was a mess, so I wouldn't even count that. Mm-hmm. He did run well, so he should be able to run well at this track, but I would say those are ceiling days. I can't imagine Graf doing that again.
I don't see it either. I mean, and I'm even like with me with the Jesse Little plate, like that's a lot of risk. I'm just doing it in one lineup to see if it works out, but I do not trust Graf at all.
If I get down, if I'm building a lineup a certain way and all I have is 4,600 left, fine. Like I don't, and I hate being stuck on someone, but if I love my 5 plays, then I don't see a problem at all. I don't want to build 100 lineups like that, but if I've got 5 guys I really like, and then I just got to put Graf in, that's okay. What do you think?
Yeah, I think again it goes back to Reddick. I think if you're playing,
let's do it. Let's lock him into a lineup and see what it spits out.
It's going to be horrible. It's going to be gross. I bet it's gross.
I guarantee 4 of the picks are going to be awesome.
Yeah, 4 of them, but
Graf is come down to that 5th guy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's see this. I'm interested because I know I am not going this way, and I really haven't messed around with it.
All right.
It's probably going to be. Let me guess. It's going to throw Reddick in. It's going to put C.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to get everybody you love. You know you're going to get 4 awesome plays.
Yeah.
So let's see it, because this might not be, because someone else is doing this. Might as well have the computer do it for me, make it easier. Yeah, so what we're doing is we're locking in Joe Graf, and we're going to see what's the best lineup you can build with Joe Graf. Because if it shows us something that's interesting, then like, all right, you know what? Just don't kill me, Joe Graf. And then from here, what we can do is say, all right, 21 points. That's awesome if he can do that. And then what we have to do then is say, like, all right, well, what if he gets 17 points? Is that still probably a decent lineup? Which 17 points would be him finishing in, if I got him finishing in the 19th, let's say he finishes 21st, maybe a little bit more realistic.
Maybe 22nd, maybe, I think that, let's see. What this
away.
And we'll talk about Santino in a bit. I guess
we're still not putting Cindric in. How about that? It's saying Sieg, Gregson. What the hell is this?
Yeah, that's what I expect. That's why Howard and Graf.
That's not any better at all. What is the deal? Is it leaving a bunch of money on the table?
I think it's all. It has to be all. There's no way it's 4,900. It's got to be all of it.
You got $800 left. I was thinking that we could at least get Cindric into this.
That's weird.
Lineup. I mean, we could. It's just choosing not to do that. It could easily do that, but it's saying that's more efficient to go Sieg. I mean, I guess we've only got 2 straight punts here. Wait, I got $800 left. I can't get the Yaley? Yeah, I can get the Yaley. Why is it not putting in Yaley? Oh, jeez. That's why. Oh, jeez. I'm glad I caught that. Optimizer's bogus right now. Let me fix this.
Well, while you do that, I'll talk about Santino over here. And I could, even though I'm Hispanic as the day is light, I cannot pronounce his last name correctly. I know it's probably Spanish. My last name is Monsiváis, but it doesn't get any easier. Anyway, I wish we had practice for Santino because I think he can do all right. I think he's going to have a really hard learning curve the first 2 stages. And if he can keep it out of the wall, if he could get it under his feet in, the first 2 stages, he might be able to work his way into 16th, 14th, and 13th. I can't imagine we're going to see anything more from him. Practice, for example, as a guy who does great on the open wheel side around the ovals, practice would do wonders for him. And I wouldn't see him struggling at all. Maybe the next race, I know he's ran 5 for Sam Hunt. Maybe after the first 2 races, then we can really start looking at him. But there's too many unknowns for me to spend that much money on Santino. How's your optimizer going?
It's fine. Just take a second. I forgot about this. I fixed this last week. I forgot to fix this with future sheets because they've expanded the field. So I have to expand the cells. And I got to make sure I fix this in the future again.
Let's see this Courier.
I'm wondering, like, what the hell? There it is. That was so strange. All right. Well, we'll do the Joe Graf thing, and I want to see what it does with the real optimal. My apologies, people.
No, we're good. We caught it.
Fix the optimizer. Well, it's fixed now if you guys have been using it, but I imagine whatever. It was fine the last couple of weeks. Anyway, so it's running now. You guys get to see behind the curtain a little bit there. So does Curry or Martins have better equipment? Or the same? I think Martins has better equipment.
It's
well, you know what? With Curry having that new engine, maybe I don't know.
And we've seen the Mike Harmon cars run well in the past, like even with no sponsorships. It's either they were poor, they had a mechanical issue, or they ran, who was it last year? Kyle Weatherman. Remember Kyle Weatherman, the wave of that for weeks?
Yeah, no, I missed that. And then I started playing him, and it was like I bought GameStop. Joe Graff with Ryan C, good. Gregson, good. Riley Herbst, good. Reddick, good. JG Yelly, yeah, that's not bad. How much money's left on it? It spends it all. So that is, I'm sure that's probably what people are doing. That's why the Joe Graff thing is happening.
I think it's going to be
that's exactly what is happening.
Lineup.
All right, let's take Graff. Now I want to see what this thing does without, because my stupid optimizer was just formatted incorrectly. So now Yaley's probably going to start getting jammed in a lot more. But I'm actually kind of glad that happened, because that was forcing us to look at Fincham. I don't think Fincham's ever going to pop up anymore.
Mm-mm.
So that might have been kind of fortuitous to be forced to look at Fincham, to be forced to look at Howard. Because now it's going to say, enough with those bums. Let's just play Yaley.
Is there a site we could see? But it's called Twitter. Trevor, come on. But yeah, you just go on. If you go on any profile, you just go to likes and you can see what anybody likes on Twitter.
Tell me Joe like.
What a world.
Like, can you put it behind the Patreon? Can you get it? No, but somebody will. Somebody's going to start doing that.
You gotta be like
aggregating the. All right, so with the fixed optimizer, it's still playing Howard, Herbst, Gregson. Jeff is jumping into the optimal lineup. There's your source. So that's what I mentioned, like in that middle price range, because C was making it so you couldn't afford Yaley. And so to get Yaley, you got to downgrade C to old Jeff. So I have no, like in cash, easy cash. I think he's easy cash as well, starting as far back as he is. Good in cash. Again, not going to kill you in cash. Among the punts, like if you're competing, because a lot of times it just comes down to one or two picks.
Mm-hmm.
Howard failing, that's versus who? Someone rostered who at 4,900 that's going to beat you? Joe Graff. Good luck. I'll play 150-50 games with someone taking Graff and me taking Kobe Howard. That one's an easy decision. So I think that's a pretty solid cash lineup.
I think that type of build on the screen is going to be popular, and it will work if Reddick has a great day, or not even great. If he does what we're kind of projecting him to do in the fast lap situation and in the lead lap situation, that's type that should score very high.
And the next question though is we need Cindric to not have a good day. So what's your argument against Cindric? Against him? That rules for, because I'm kind of forcing you to argue for Reddick, which you haven't done before. So now arguing for Reddick, you really need Cindric to have a poor performance.
Mm-hmm.
What happens that has Cindric not score 70, 80 points?
I think you would see him either fall off after 10 or 12 laps, and you see Burton, or you see Harrison, because I know there's two Burtons. You see Harrison show up with a fast car, as we saw at the end of last year. Like at Texas, for example, he had a really good car at Texas. There's a situation to where if Cindric doesn't work and Reddick does, that would mean that either Cindric underperforms or there's other people under him in pricing or starting position. Burton, Brandon Jones, even Justin Haley. Maybe they steal fast laps, or they, all these guys don't really do anything, but they do something in the sense of stealing fast laps or laps led. That would be where I'd look.
Yeah, that's kind of, if I'm arguing for Reddick, I could draw up a scenario where Hemrick beats him on the restart, or there's a couple cautions that kind of throw things in different directions where one guy doesn't lead all. Because if he doesn't lead all of stage 1 and stage 2, it's going to be hard. He still is viable at 10,200. It's a pretty cheap price tag for the fastest car.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying no. I would like to get all three of them in my lineup, but I can easily see how Reddick is more efficient than Cindric. That's not much of a stretch. Not a lot of things have to happen for Reddick to be more efficient than Cindric. I think you could also say, that's why I say 50-50, Cindric is in the optimal lineup. The other 50% of the time, I see Reddick being a large portion of that.
Mm-hmm. Any last questions? Because I think the point that you just made there is a great place to kind of end it for today. I don't really see anything else we could add to the conversation that we haven't already said.
Graf or Little, I don't like either one of them, but if you are stuck down there, I think we just built that lineup that locked him in. Is Graf more expensive than Little?
I think he's less expensive.
Yeah, and so he works perfectly with Yaley. So has nothing to do with Graf, has nothing to do with Little for me. It's just that if I'm building that lineup, I can get Yaley with Graf, so I'll take that. I don't like Graf. He's just, you got 5 guys you like, and then you have 4,600 left.
Yeah. All right, I think we're going to end it there because I think we've covered everything. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Thank you for watching. Find all his stuff at racewiththeprize.com. Find all my stuff at BrandonCruzDFS on Twitter and Patreon. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll be talking about this tomorrow at 10 a.m. live for the Cup Series. Thank you guys. Peace out.